In this video, we're going to take a look at factors. So the first question here is, what is a factor? So a factor is an integer. So remember, an integer is just a whole number that will divide exactly into another number. So for example here, 10 is a factor of 20 because 10 divides 20 two times with no remainder. In other words, if we do 10 times 2, this is equal to 20. Okay? And like we said here, there's no remainder. But what's important here is these two numbers, they form what we call a factor pair. Okay, so this is a factor pair. In that case then, 10 and 2 are a factor pair. So for example then, we want to think about the factors of 20 here. Okay, let's do this underneath. Let's say we start off with the number 20 here. We want to think about all the factors of 20. So I'm going to do a little bit of a table here. What I need to think about now is two numbers that will times together to give me 20. Okay, so the easiest example there to think of would be 1 and 20. 1 times 20 would give me 20. In that case, my factor pair there would be 1 and 20. What other numbers can we multiply together here to get 20? Well, if I just keep going along the top here, if I think about 2 now, 2 times by 10, that would give me 20. So 2 and 10 are another factor pair there. Well, I can't do 3. If I do 20 divided by 3, that won't give me a whole number. We'd have a remainder. So we keep going along now. If I think about 4, well, 20 is divisible by 4 with no remainder. So 4 here. What do I times 4 by to get 20? Well, that would be 5. Okay. So if I keep going along here now, we think about the next number here. That would be 5. But notice then that would just be repeating this pair here, because it would be 5 times by 4 to give me 20, but we'd be repeating now. Okay. So as soon as you start repeating like that, we've got all our factors here. So therefore, factor of 20 here, just write this underneath. The factors of 20, they're going to be 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. So it's all these numbers here we've written down. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20 there. Okay. And there we have it. So like you see, that's all we need there for our introduction to factors. So what we're going to do now is just take a look at some practice questions for factors. Starting off with question 1, then we're asked to list all the factors of 12. And again, all we're going to do here is use a table to find the factors of 12. So we start off here by doing our table. We're going to get 12. And again, all we're thinking about now is two numbers that we can multiply together and get 12. So the most obvious one here would be to start with 1. So 1 times 12 would give us 12. So we're going to get 1 and 12 there. Just extend this line here a little bit. So again, we keep moving along here. So the next number now would be 2. And 12 is divisible by 2 with no remainder. That would be 2 and 6 there. We keep going along here. So my next number would be 3. And again, 12 is divisible by 3 with no remainder. So that would be 3 and 4. And if we think about this now, if I was to use the next number here, 4, well, we'd be repeating this factor pair here, because that would be 4 and 3. Like we said, we'd be repeating this pair here. So what that means now is we've found all the factors of 12. So therefore, all the factors of 12 here, we'll just write this underneath. That's going to be all these numbers here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Okay, and there we have it. So that's our solution to question 1. And if we take a look at one more question here, we're asked to list all the factors of 21. So again, all we're going to do here to find all the factors of 21 is just use a table. If we set our table up here to begin with, we've got 21. So again, we always start with 1 here. 1 times 21 would give me 21. So 1 and 21 there. That gives us our first factor pair. Well, if I move along here, 21 isn't divisible by 2. 21 is an odd number, but we can't divide it by 2. That would give us a remainder. If we move along now, the next number here would be 3, because if I do 21 divided by 3, we have no remainder. So I'm going to get 3 here. If I think about this now, what do I times 3 by to get 21? Well, that must be 7. We get 3 and 7. And we think about this now, if I keep going along here, well, I can't divide 21 by 4. I can't divide 21 by 5. I can't divide 21 by 6. I can divide 21 by 7, but what we notice here is we just repeat this factor pair here. Okay? But in that case, then what we've done here is we found all the factors of 21. If we write those underneath, this is for the factors of 21. What we get here is 1, 3, 7, and 21. 1, 3, 7, and 21 there. And there we have it. So that's our solution to question 2. That brings us to the end of this video on factors. In the next video, we're going to take a look at an introduction to multiples.